This particular week every year is the one in which some couples show their love by spending frivolously on soft toys and flowers, whereas single people will take the route of either celebrating freedom or commiserating with a tub of ice cream. Whether you're the former, the latter, or none of the above, for Valentine's Day this year, we wanted to give you a look at some of the relationships you can find in game worlds.
First up is one of the first and most commonly seen relationships in arcade and early video games, the formulaic or repetitive relationship. This relationship is largely for functional purposes, where the female in question gets kidnapped and the hero must go save her. Think Link and Zelda or Mario and Peach. Despite Zelda occasionally masquerading as an awesome Sheikah or a pirate in some instances, their relationship dynamic is pretty standard, not to mention wildly repetitive throughout the series.
The faithful plumber and androgynous fairy boy don't seem too deterred by the frequent kidnapping of their princesses though. It's safe to say they're still not sick of each other after all these years.
Another commonly found relationship in video games is the tragedy. More often than not, this is a romantic relationship that tends toward a Romeo and Juliet wrap-up. These relationships can be found in The Darkness with Jackie and Jenny, as well as Gears of War through the not-so-pleasantly unraveling relationship of Maria and Dominic Santiago. Unfortunately, for the women of these relationships, they tend to be used to spark the hero into action, which generally results in their untimely demise.
When romance doesn't always prevail, there's always the "I don't think we're on the same page" relationship.
Dragon Age 2 players everywhere were taken aback when suddenly, without warning, apostate mage Anders took it upon himself to make the first move, regardless of your character's feelings or lack thereof toward him. Similar awkwardness was found in Mass Effect 3 when Kaidan asked Shepard to be more than friends. This entirely unsolicited conversation is triggered whether or not you're heading for a romance with somebody else, and it ends in the two of you sitting quietly in the Presidium over some rejection lunch. Awkward.
There are the sweet romantic relationships that last through series after series, like Guybrush and Elaine and the Prince and Farah, and then, just like real life, there are the relationships that were just pretty screwed up from the start.
Take Dante and Beatrice from Dantes Inferno. Sure, he ventures through the underbelly of hell to save her soul, but this is only after Dante cheats on her with another woman, who then, intending to save her brother, who is actually her husband, offers herself in exchange for Dante. Melodrama ensues and the husband kills Beatrice, culminating into some seriously Jersey Shore shit.
Of course, not all in-game relationships have romantic intentions. There are the platonic relationships of Diddy and Donkey Kong, the team-like relationships of Sam and Max and April, Ryan and Crow, and, as has been featured more recently, the paternal relationship.
The Walking Dead and Heavy Rain both heavily feature relationships that are employed as tools to persuade the gamer to consider different courses of action given that they're responsible for a child. Some in-game relationships are so interwoven with the game that they require no explanation, or at least none is offered up. These include Wanda and Mono in Shadow of the Colossus, as well as Pac-Man and Mrs. Pac-Man in, Pac-Man. Then you have wildly dysfunctional relationships like Resident Evil's Leon and Ada, who are prone to drawing pistols on one another and bickering about the correct course of action. Along the same lines falls the relationship between Jack and Shepard. While a blossoming love affair can be built for this couple, choosing nasty dialogue options offers Shepard the chance to jump into bed with her fairly early on.
Outside of relationships, where getting in the sack is the main goal, are mentor relationships, which always have a propensity to go south. An example of this is the protagonist of Knights of the Old Republic 2 and Kreia, who will never ever be satisfied with your light side Jedi, no matter how many times you go to visit her and entertain her batshit crazy ideas.
There's also the companion relationships, such as Link and his fairy pal Na'vi, who you'd better get used to because there's no way she's going to hang out in the Deku Forest and let you venture across Hyrule unbothered.
What kind of relationships are your favourite in games, and which do you think are the worst? Let us know in the comments down below. In the meantime, enjoy this spectacularly commercialized holiday, and if all else fails, use our handy list to find yourself a virtual date. See you next time!